Okay, let's talk about formatting for a few minutes. When you are working with data and working with spreadsheets, it's really important to make the data really easy to understand, really easy to consume. Whether it's you who's consuming the data or someone else, spreadsheets can be overwhelming. When you look at some of these views, like just data, 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 it's hard to know what to take from this. It's hard to digest it. It can look like just a mess of data you don't understand. This does have some formatting, obviously, some bold headers, some centered headers, some different alignment. The data looks right. These look like dollars. These look like numbers. These are dates. So some of it is obvious that you just have to do and people do just by default for the most part. But other stuff can make it much easier to consume the data you're sharing and to get the message across. And you'll look at something and you'll feel like you understand where it begins, where it ends, and what it means. So here are just a bunch of examples of different kinds of formatting. As you can see, the data is the data, right? This is a date. This is not a date, so you do want to make sure that all of your dates do look like dates. Data or format number date. And you want it to be consistent, right? This date has 2 digits, this is 4, so you can paste the formatting too. If you do Command C to copy, then Command Option V to paste, you'll paste formatting. You can also do it with Edit, Copy, and then Paste Special, Paste Format. So anyway, these are dates, these are dollars, 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 this is a count. So it all looks like the right data. Good place to start. Then you can change the text color. Some black text obviously is pretty common. White text on a different background, white text on a different background. Cell shading, right? Darker cells, red cells, black, green. Even alternating. These are actually, it's called alternating colors because in spreadsheets, sometimes it's hard to read across and see how the data lines up. You can use alternating colors where you change the colors. Each row is different. You have a header color, color 1 and color 2 alternate. You can even add more colors if you want to rotate in 3s or more. Also, there's some default colors. And you can even do your own custom versions of it too. And you can apply it to whatever range you want. And then it will alternate colors. So just really easy to consume as you go. You can then do, obviously, bold. I like to bold my headers. I also like to make the columns a certain width. You can double click on this edge, which will make the column the width of the largest text in that column. So here you can change the size, obviously. You can double click to make it narrower or to make it the exact size of the text. So that matters also. Text size, right? You can change the text size if you want the headers to be bigger or smaller. You make it 12 or you can make it smaller. You can also freeze rows. I have my first row here frozen. You can freeze columns. View freeze. I have one row frozen. I'll freeze one column too, so when I scroll over and down, those headers will stay in place. I do like to center my headers, as I said. For other data, I don't always center because I think it starts looking funny if the data is different lengths and it's all centered. So usually I will center headers, but I will actually leave the default alignment for the other cells, for dollars, for numbers, for dates. But you could, if you wanted to center that, you could always do that. I also wrap text, obviously. If this were not wrapped, it would just go straight across and you couldn't see it. But if you wrap it, you can see it, and you can make the column that width, and it will fit that width. So there's just a bunch of really simple formatting tools. Nothing too magical here, and it's in the formatting menu. There's a bunch of shortcuts here for a lot of it. You can also, if on your computer, so let's say this data is all size 10, that can be too big or too small for you. So you can also on your computer just do Command plus to zoom in or Command minus to zoom out. That's more of a browser feature than a spreadsheet feature. But if other people see it better or see it worse and you want to change the size, you can do that for yourself also. And there's also conditional formatting, which we talked about in another video, but conditional formatting will let you format rows like these, for example, when a certain number is too high or too low. For example, the average product revenue here is below a certain number, whether it's 100 or whatever, you highlight the entire rows. So you can see it's telling a story. It's telling you that these are 3 rows to pay attention to. It's telling you these are the totals with the bold. It's telling you this is a header with a different background. It's telling you the check is good because it's green. This could be, if this were bad, could be red. So keep that in mind. When you're doing spreadsheet work, use the formatting as a storytelling tool. Use the formatting to make sure the communication is clear and that the message gets across and that the data and message are really just easy to understand.